Okay, let's go to graph paper. That's what I forgot. I was gonna put something for graph paper. Okay.
Purple.
Ew, your favorite color is red?
Fine.
Have you seen that Power Rangers meme?
Oh,
Alright.
oh, I really like this red.
Do you guys remember what the equation for a line looks like?
X equals 0.
Y equals
Y equals,
MXB.
yes,
Yeah.
y equals mx plus b.
You're so smart.
Shh. Alright. So what does the m stand for?
The
Slope.
Slope.
Yes.
And the b stood for the
Y space intercept.
y-intercept.
Oh, I was right.
Whoa.
Okay, this is called slope-intercept form because it tells you the slope and the y-intercept when you write like this, when you get y by itself. So an example would be y equals 2x minus 1. If I wanted to graph it, where should I start at?
-1.
Start down 1 on the y-axis.
And then 2
Up
and then
Okay.
right 1.
Yeah, the slope is rise over run. You guys remember that? Rise over run? So if it's not written in fraction form, you can just put it over 1. So the rise is 2, the run is 1. So rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. And you can also, you guys remember, could go backwards, down 2, back 1. It's on the same line. Anyway, what if I change the slope to -2? What would that do?
Go down -1.
So you'd go down 2 for the rise, and still, this is not negative, you can't make them both negative. Down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. So in general, what can I say about positive slopes and negative slopes?
They make an X.
And that's not what I'm going for.
36.
Okay, positive slopes, the line is going, my word, is going up from left to right. Right?
Yes. I
And negative slopes, the line's going to go down from left to right. Got it?
Yes.
Negative slopes should always follow positive. So what if it's right in the middle though? Like a horizontal line.
That's like x equals 0, y equals 0.
X, Y equals 1.
Okay, let's start with what the equation for this line would look like. Y equals -1. Because remember, this is like 1, -1, 2, -1, 3, -1. So it's just all the y values are -1. And what's the slope though?
0.
0. On a horizontal line, the slope is 0. Because it's right between positive and negative. Okay, what about if I drew, well, I better draw over here. Let's change colors. Hope somebody called purple for you.
You're welcome.
It is mainly for herself, but that's okay. Okay, what if I drew a vertical line? You guys know what this? It's called x equals 1, 2, 3. And but what would the slope be?
0. 1.
It would not be anything.
0.
Okay, Grant's right, it's nothing. So what this book's, so you wouldn't say the wall is like, this book calls it undefined slope. Some books say it's just no slope. I think this one might be more prevalent though, undefined. Anyway, no slope for that one. 0 slope, no slope. If you had to find the slope of this line, you just need to find a couple points on the line and then you could count. Rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. So it's, slope is 2.
Dude, I remember this chapter. This is scary.
Yeah, this was, we're kind of cramming like 4 lessons from Algebra 1 into 1 lesson today.
Are you serious?
We're putting a bunch of lessons
I
together.
remember this from last year. What?
Oh, did we graph last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a little bit of slope work, didn't we?
Because I remember y equals x.
Yeah, I remember.
Wait.
Oh yeah, we did do
I forgot.
that. That one's 34.
Okay, that's not everything, but that's enough to get us going. All right, page 66. Somebody's buzzing on the wall. Page 66. Might want to put your phones on silent instead of vibrate.
I killed my phone.
The door was like going like.
Maybe it was just the door. Is there a phone on the other
I'm
side?
sure.
Someone on the other side.
I'm sure it was. That's true.
The door.
The door was vibrating.
The door just felt like.
Okay, we haven't talked about number 1 yet, so I doubt we did this one last year. Maybe we did. It says find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. What is an x-intercept and a y-intercept?
It's like where they cross on the x and y axis.
Yes. So if you have a line, it's going to cross somewhere. So the x-intercept might be something like, it's where it crosses the x-axis. It might be something like 3, 0. The y-intercept might be 0, 2 or something like this. But what is true about all x-intercepts? This would be 1, 0. This would be negative 1, 0. This would be negative 2, 0. All x-intercepts have a y value of 0. So to find the x-intercept, you put in 0 for y and figure out what x is. If I make y 0, what's x going to have to equal? 5. So the x-intercept is, one at a time. What work?
I was gonna say.
I didn't show any work.
You're gonna
This
grab-
was an explanation.
You're
This
gonna
is
grab
not the
all
work.
of that.
No, I mean like. Never mind.
Okay, if I'm not showing any work, I don't know what work you would show. Anyway, and what about that's the x-intercept. What about, guess what's true about the y-intercept?
0.
Okay, all the x values on y-intercepts are going to be 0. So if I put a 0 in for x right here, what's the y value going to be? 5. So the y-intercept's at 0, 5. Yep.
On number 2, do you want us to show our work?
Right.
This is why I love you.
Oh,
This
shit.
is why I love you.
No, okay.
I love you.
Number 3. X minus 4y equals 2. Okay, how did I find the x-intercept again? I put 0 for y. Okay, on this one, if I make the y value 0, 0 times 4 is 0, so x would equal 2. X minus 0 equals 2. X equals 2. Okay, how do I find the y-intercept? Make the x 0. If I put 0 in for x on this one, that kind of goes away. I get negative 4y equals 2. Divided by negative 4, y would equal negative 1/2. Yeah. Or negative 1/2. I'm going to stick with fractions.
Dude, that's crazy. This math is so hard right now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but every section is going to keep changing. That's the tricky part. Number 5. Should I?
No, you should not.
Maybe you should pay attention when I'm doing the odds. Number 5, write each equation in function notation. Okay, function notation just means f of x equals instead of y equals. So, but first we need to change it into y equals. So how do I solve this equation for y?
Subtract the x.
Subtract the x.
And then divide by negative 1.
Instead of putting 13 minus x, I'm going to put
Oh, yeah.
minus x plus 13. Okay, and then how do I get rid of this negative?
You flip everything around.
Yeah, dividing by negative 1 just switches all the signs. Okay, but instead of putting y equals x minus 13, I'm going to put it in function notation. So it's f of x equals x minus 13. All right.
Section's lame.
Second question, what is the slope of this going to be? 1. There's an invisible 1 right there, right? So slope is 1, and the y-intercept is negative 13. So all three of those are the answer for this section. You don't really need the 1 there though. Floating away.
Oh, stupid.
Okay.
Almost now, David, do it for us.
Number 7, same thing. 3x minus 2y equals 11. Alright. So these would be ones that you should show your work on. What should, that's ugly too. What should we do first? Solve for y, so I need to do what? Minus 3x. Divide by negative 2. Instead of putting 11 minus 3x, I'm going to put minus 3x plus 11. Yeah, divide by negative 2. Negative divided by negative is positive. 11 divided by 2 doesn't work very well, so I'm just going to leave it as negative 11 halves. If we were graphing, we would change that to a mixed number to help us graph it. Okay, function notation. What is the slope? 3 halves. What's the y-intercept?
Negative 11 halves.
After doing this for like years, does this get like old in the same exact math problems?
I don't, a year later, I don't really remember doing it.
Do you have to relearn every single time?
No, of course not. Think how quickly you guys remembered it.
Do you get tired of it though? Like seeing the same thing over?
I don't mind teaching it. I don't like teaching it twice the same day though. That does get a little. So
Where do you keep it all?
keep it all. Okay. Number 9. Okay, number 9, state the slope and y-intercept. Well, guess what the best way to find the slope and y-intercept is? Solve for y, change its slope-intercept form. Right now, the form it's in is called standard form, with the x's and the y's and the constant. But we're going to do the same thing, slope-intercept form again. So get y by itself, minus 5x. Divide the negative 4. Okay, what's the slope?
5/4.
What's the y-intercept? They only wanted these two on this one. All right, we made it through that section. Now,
These are constantly changing.
yeah, I told you they shoved like 4 lessons from Algebra 1 into one lesson. Number 11 is line A, which is that red line. How could I find its slope, though? If you look at it, you locate points on the line that are easily identifiable, like at 0, 1, and 1, negative 2. And you use those 2 points to find the rise and the run. So what's the rise and what's the run between those 2 points? How much is it rising? -3, and it's running 1. The rise is actually a fall. So yeah, so the slope is -3 over 1, which is equal to -3. On 13 is line C, which is the green horizontal line. So what did we say the flat lines, what was their slope for a horizontal line? 0. Zero. On bilateral. 15, I didn't talk about this one. Instead of graphing, so on 15 it says, find the slope between a line, find the slope of a line that goes between 8, -2 and 0, or 10, -8, 10, -8. Okay, we don't have to graph it to find the slope. There is a much easier trick. If you think about it on a graph, the rise of the graph, like how much it's going up and down, is just going to be the difference in the y values, like 1 minus -2, or -2 minus 1. And the run is just the difference in the x values. So we have a formula, it's called the slope formula.
1 minus y over x minus x.
Did you find it on the whiteboard?
No, of course
Cheater. Do you guys remember this from last year? Okay, this will be on the test in like 2 or 3 weeks, so
Darn.
you need to have it locked in. And it's also like a ACT thing, so you need it for that too. And you guys remember what I did last year, like for formulas, you do it at the beginning of the test, and then I check it. It'll be one of those deals. Slope formula. Okay, so for this one, usually if people screw it up, it's because they put the x's on top. So just do the y's on top. So -2 minus -8 over 8 minus 10. It's all coming back. Willow, you remember? I'm glad we did this last year. I kind of forgot that we had it in geometry. It was like a geometry lesson, or did I just do some algebra to remind you guys?
don't
Nobody knows. Okay, somebody help me set up 17. What would that look like? 2 minus 1. 0 minus 4. Hope you okay? You don't sound too whoopee. What?
I mean, I love that so much. It's my favorite subject.
I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah, I'm just happy to make myself up.
Okay, yes. All right, somebody besides Hope. Number 19, how would we set that one up? Somebody besides Issa too. All right, Grant.
Okay. Wait, where's 19 at?
Does the order that we subtract matter?
No.
If you go left to right on the y's, you have to go left to right on the x's, or vice versa. If you go right to left, you have to go right to left.
Okay.
19, Grant.
Okay, so the top would be 19 minus 6, which would be 13 over like -12 plus 12, which would be 0.
Okay, 13 over 0, we hit the weird one.
That's like that.
Okay, the problem is those 2 points that they gave us were like that on the graph. So that means the line's like that. So it means there's no slope. If you do 13 divided by 0 on your calculator, what will we get? error, because it doesn't exist.
Fine.
So there is no slope, so it's undefined. It's a vertical line. If you think about those points, they're vertical to each other. What if it was 0 divided by 13, though? That equals 0. That means it's a flat line. But this one's undefined. Okay.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, crap.
Why did that guy do that? He seemed like a normal
I
person.
got a milkshake. Optimus Prime voice for you.
Atticus, hit the thug shape. I don't care how old they are. They all feel the same.
But
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Number 21 is kind of like number 1. So if you can graph it. So, on number 1, how did we find the x and y intercepts?
Maybe a little 0.
Yeah, plug in 0 for stuff. So, it also says find the slope, but I think I'm going to have you guys skip that part on this one.
Do you want us to write down the stuff and then graph, or do you want us to just graph it? Click on our extras for others.
I guess you could just graph this part. Alright, so to find the x-intercept, it's make the y value 0, right? So if I put 0 in right there, what's x going to equal? 6. So 6, 0, that's my x. For my y-intercept, I'm going to make the x value 0. Now if I put 0 in for x, I would get negative y equals 6. So y is what? Negative 6. And we don't really need the slope to graph it, so you guys can skip that part on this section. But your graph needs to go 6 to the right and 6 down. Here, you move that up a little bit. 1, 6.
Have you ever had like back cramps, Mr. Jordan?
No.
Never ever.
I've had back pain, cramps.
That's crazy.
Are you going into labor, you think?
Yeah, probably. And he did though.
Yeah, I look like I'm going into labor. I will be there soon.
I was talking
6 months and
All right, 23. We're actually going to just stop at the end of this section, and this will be a day and a half assignment. It's not not a 2-day. I was thinking maybe I could squeeze it in one, but I don't think so. It's a little bit too big. So x minus 2y equals 5. All right, same thing as we just did. X-intercept is going to have a y value of 0. If I put in 0 for the y, that 2y goes away, so I have x equals 5. Whoopsie. And the y-intercept, this one one might be a little trickier. If I put in 0 for x, that goes away, and I have negative 2y equals 5. Yeah. So what's 5 divided by negative 2? You could say negative 5 halves, but in this case, a mixed number might be more helpful because we're going to graph that.
Is this like your favorite chapter of math, Jordan?
Sure.
Dude, that's rad.
We found it, yeah. Everyone's favorite chapter.
Penultimate.
Yeah, that means that we should do this a lot.
Okay,
Every-
5, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 2.5.
Do you think Microsoft is like that?
It only makes sense.
It really does.
Yeah.
The crime scene of Microsoft. It's the high school, but they go to high school.
What do you guys think about
Microsoft is
It's
like
like
a
a
press. It's been diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Darn, they're in over here.
Is that Stevie Nicks book? So weird.
Well, let's just destroy.
The door.
Alright, 25. X plus 3y plus 2.
Where are we stopping here?
26? That's
I
right.
just saw my paper, just by coincidence. 26 is a lucky number. That's the age of the guy.
You could, if you subtracted 2 on both sides, you can turn it into standard form. Alright, if I put in 0 for y, what's x going to equal? Negative 2. If I put in 0 for x, yeah, you get negative 2 divided by 3, negative 2/3. So negative 2, 0 would be there. 0, negative 2/3. Right there. I was gonna drop.
Still almost falling.
Yeah. So we'll call that. We'll finish this tomorrow and maybe start the next lesson tomorrow too, though.